Have you ever felt a song change your entire mood in just a few seconds? That chill that runs down your spine during a powerful crescendo? Your body already knows something that science is just beginning to measure. Sound isn't just entertainment, it's biological information. For thousands of years, mystics and shamans have told us that everything is vibration. Today, we're going beyond mysticism. We're decoding exactly how specific sound frequencies interact with your nervous system, create measurable changes in your body, and why the mechanism matters more than any magic number. This is a 15-minute deep dive into the science of sound healing, where ancient wisdom meets verifiable modern research. Let's begin. Let's start with what sound actually is. Sound is simply vibration traveling through matter, and we measure it in hertz, which means cycles per second. Humans can hear a pretty narrow window from about 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But the spectrum of vibration extends far beyond what our ears can pick up. Below 20 hertz, you have infrasound. Have you ever felt inexplicably anxious near a large industrial fan or uneasy in certain buildings? That could be infrasound. You don't hear these deep rumbles, but you feel them in your chest, in your gut. They can affect your balance and create a real sense of physiological unease. Then, above 20,000 hertz, you have ultrasound frequencies too high for us to hear, but powerful enough to be used for medical imaging. Ultrasound technology uses highly focused waves to see inside the body, which is clear proof that sound, at the right intensity, interacts meaningfully with our biological tissue. And here's the key insight. Our ears are just one receiver. Our skin, our bones, our entire nervous system responds to vibration through multiple pathways, and that's where the real science of sound healing begins. When you place a vibrating tuning fork against your skin, or stand near a powerful subwoofer, you're activating what are called mechanoreceptors. These are specialized nerve endings in your skin and deeper tissues that detect mechanical pressure and vibration. This is somatosensory perception. Your nervous system is literally processing vibrational information. Now, you've probably heard about biological resonance, the idea that specific frequencies can resonate with our organs or cells. Let's be precise about what this actually means. In physics, resonance happens when an external frequency matches an object's natural frequency, which amplifies the vibration. A singer can shatter a wine glass because the glass has a specific resonant frequency. When that frequency is matched with enough volume, the glass absorbs energy until it breaks. Can this happen in the human body? Well, in very limited, specific ways, yes. Your skull, for example, resonates around 200 to 300 hertz, which is why some sounds can feel uncomfortable or seem to rattle your head. Certain bones and cavities have their own resonant frequencies. But here's the critical distinction. The human body is not a wine glass. We are complex, fluid-filled, dampened systems with layers of tissue, constant motion, and biochemical regulation. True destructive resonance from ambient sound just doesn't happen in healthy tissue. What does happen is far more subtle, and honestly, more powerful. Vibrational stimulation influences muscle tension. It sends signals to your brain, and it triggers relaxation or alertness responses. It's not about mystical frequency matching. It's about sensory input that your nervous system interprets and responds to. Now we arrive at the strongest scientific evidence for sound as impact. Its measurable effect on the autonomic nervous system. This is the control center for every involuntary function in your body. Your ENS operates in two main modes. First, there's the sympathetic mode, our fight or flight stress response. Your heart rate goes up, cortisol spikes, and digestion shuts down. Then there's the parasympathetic mode, our rest and digest system. This is where you find calm, relaxation, healing, and tissue repair. When you listen to slow, rhythmic music, particularly instrumental music around 60 to 80 beats per minute, you are measurably activating your parasympathetic nervous system. We know this because researchers can measure something called heart rate variability, or HRV is the tiny variation in time between your heartbeats. Paradoxically, Higher variability is a sign of better health and greater relaxation. It means your heart is responding flexibly to your breath and your environment, not locked into a rigid, stressed pattern. A 2020 systematic review that analyzed multiple clinical trials confirmed it. Music increases parasympathetic activity in HRV. When you're stressed, your HRV drops. When you're deeply relaxed, HRV increases. And the effects are very real. Reduce cortisol, lower blood pressure, decreased pain perception, and even improved immune markers. This isn't a placebo. This is measurable, reproducible physiology. But the nuance is that the effect is strongest when it's combined with intention, breath awareness, and a calm environment. The sound is the vehicle, but your conscious engagement is the fuel. Let me give you a concrete example of sound healing in clinical practice, and it might surprise you. In neonatal intensive care units, or NICUs, all around the world, premature babies face enormous physiological stress. These tiny infants are born with underdeveloped nervous systems, and they're in environments full of harsh sounds, beeping monitors, ventilators, and alarms. But here's what happens when board-certified music therapists introduce specific interventions like live lullabies, parent-directed singing, and controlled acoustic environments. A 2020 meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials found that music therapy in NICU significantly improved heart rate and respiratory stability, reduced stress markers in premature infants, and increased their feeding volume, which is critical for development. And remarkably, it also reduced anxiety and depression in the mothers. This isn't just playing a Spotify playlist in the background. This is music therapy, a regulated healthcare profession with clinical protocols, university degrees, and evidence-based practices. Therapists adjust the tempo, volume, and timing to each infant's individual physiological state, often incorporating the mother's voice to strengthen bonding. So what's the mechanism? It's nervous system regulation through rhythmic entrainment and the integration of touch and sound. The infant's developing brain learns to associate specific sound patterns with safety, calm, and the presence of their caregivers. This is sound healing at its most rigorous and its most profound. Now we arrive at the most discussed and most controversial topic in sound healing: solfeggio frequencies, particularly 528 Hz, which is often called the DNA repair frequency or the love frequency. In spiritual communities, these tones hold profound significance. They're often linked to cymatics, which is the beautiful study of how sound can organize matter, like sand or water, into geometric patterns. Let me be direct and honest about what science supports and what remains in the realm of tradition and intention. The scientific reality is this: as of today, there is no replicated, peer-reviewed evidence that a pure acoustic tone at 528 Hz can measurably repair damaged DNA molecules in human cells. The energy required to break and reform molecular bonds is immense, far beyond what any ambient sound wave can deliver. If a sound had enough intensity to affect your DNA, it would also damage all the surrounding cellular structures. Cymatics shows us that sound creates beautiful patterns in inert materials, but the human body is biochemically active, self-regulating, and orders of magnitude more complex. But here's the deeper truth, and this is crucial. To dismiss these practices entirely would be to miss their real power. The true mechanism of solfeggio frequencies, singing bowls, and sound baths isn't some kind of mystical molecular repair. It's neurological, psychological, and autonomic. When you engage with these tones in a focused, meditative state, you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which, as we've seen, triggers measurable healing responses. You're practicing focused attention, a meditative state that has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers and stress. You're creating a ritual space that signals to your nervous system: it is safe to let go. It's safe to heal. The so-called placebo effect isn't trickery. It's your nervous system's own healing capacity, activated when it feels safe, supported, and intentional. This doesn't make these practices less valuable, it makes them more honest. The frequency number itself may matter less than the quality of your attention, the ritual you create, and the state of presence you cultivate. And that's not a weakness, that's neuroscience. So where does all this leave you? The journey through the science of sound reveals something liberating. You do not need to choose between science and spirituality. You just need discernment. Here's your practical blueprint. First, use sound to shift your nervous system state. Choose slow, rhythmic music, around 60 to 80 BPM when you need to calm down. Combine it with deep breathing for an exponential effect. Second, explore vibrational therapy with clear understanding. The power of tuning forks, singing bowls, and gongs comes through tactile stimulation, auditory immersion, and ritual. Not mystical frequencies, but real sensory pathways that matter. Third, don't abandon evidence-based care. Sound healing is complementary. It's extraordinary for stress reduction and emotional regulation, but it doesn't replace medical treatment for serious conditions. And fourth, trust your subjective experience. If a specific frequency, song, or sound makes you feel more centered, peaceful, or alive, that experience is valid. The mechanism might be neurological rather than molecular, but the healing is genuine. Your nervous system doesn't lie. The most effective sound healing uses rhythm, melody, intention, and your individual nervous system. It's not about finding one magic number. It's about cultivating a practice of resonance with yourself. So here's your homework. This week, create a 10-minute sound ritual. Choose music around 60 BPM. There are playlists designed for this. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and practice what I call somatic listening. Don't just hear the sound. Feel where it lands in your body. Notice what shifts. Notice your breath. Notice the space between the notes. Then come back and tell me in the comments what frequency found you. The power of sound is the power to tune your nervous system back to its natural healing state. Presence, calm, and coherence. Now go find your sound and start rewiring your nervous system, one intentional vibration at a time. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this valuable, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the science of well-being.